The couple found themselves inadvertently caught by the alien creature. The woman, desperate, looked at her husband beside her, helpless as the creature proceeded with some kind of experiment on her. As the creature placed an experimental device on the woman's chest, the next moment, a laser beam suddenly descended from above, instantly turning her into ashes. Jake could only watch helplessly, unable to do anything about it. Then the creature prepared to attack Jake. It removed the metal wrist guard from its wrist and placed it aside, picking up a laser knife and making a cut on Jake's abdomen. The intense pain unleashed Jake's primal strength, and he launched a counterattack, seizing the laser knife and swinging it towards the creature's face. In his haste, Jake accidentally put the metal wrist guard on his own hand. Without much thought, he took advantage of the creature's confusion and made a quick escape. But shortly after fleeing the alien base, Jake collapsed on the ground due to physical discomfort. When he woke up again, he found himself in the middle of nowhere, in the desolate desert. However, as he looked at the wound on his abdomen and the wrist guard on his hand, he couldn't remember anything about what had just happened, completely blanking out on recent events. Jake tried to remove the metal wrist guard but found it futile. Just as he resorted to smashing it with a stone, 3 bounty hunters suddenly appeared behind him. Seeing the wound on Jake's body and the wrist guard on his arm, they mistook Jake for an escaped convict fresh out of prison, ready to take him in for the bounty. Little did they know, Jake was no pushover. He swiftly fought back, quickly taking down all 3 bounty hunters. Afterwards, Jake changed into their clothes, rode a horse to a nearby town, and with the help of a priest, tended to his wounds. Suddenly, a bullet flew into the church, startling them. The priest hurried outside to investigate, only to find out that the town's bully was causing trouble again. Relying on his father's influence in the town, he often bullied residents and shopkeepers. Not only did he refuse to pay at the bar, but he also recklessly fired his gun, intimidating others. The bar owner, unable to resist, was forced to apologize on his knees under the bully's gun threat. Seeing this, the priest immediately stepped forward to defuse the situation. However, the bully started extorting protection money from the onlookers. Jake wasn't about to tolerate the bully's antics. When the bully confronted him, Jake delivered a lethal blow straight to his groin. Enraged, the bully aimed his gun at Jake, but Jake wasn't intimidated. He turned to leave, prompting the bully to attempt a warning shot. However, in a stroke of misfortune, the bullet accidentally struck the deputy sheriff who was standing nearby, merely observing the situation. The sheriff, witnessing the scene, decided to take action. While law enforcement often turned a blind eye to minor altercations, injuring a police officer was a serious offense. The troublemaker was promptly taken into custody and brought to the police station. Jake's unexpected display caught the attention of a woman at the bar. As Jake enjoyed his drink, she approached him, seemingly intrigued by the wrist guard he wore. However, just as Jake felt a sense of danger looming behind him, the sheriff made a surprising return. Discovering Jake's status as a high-profile fugitive, he wasted no time in bringing him back to the station. Determined to hand both the troublemaker and Jake over to federal authorities, the sheriff planned a late-night operation to prevent the bully's father from intervening. Yet, as they were about to depart, the bully's father arrived with his henchmen, ready to confront them head-on. Woodrow's intentions were crystal clear. He demanded the sheriff release his foolish son. Naturally, the sheriff refused, leading to a tense standoff. However, just as the 2 men squared off, everyone's attention was suddenly drawn to the distance. Simultaneously, Jake's wristband began to glow. In the sky nearby, something was rapidly approaching. Before anyone could react, the unidentified flying object descended upon the town, unleashing indiscriminate bombardment. Chaos erupted as panicked townsfolk attempted to flee, but the craft deployed ropes, indiscriminately snatching up people of all ages and genders. Ordinary firearms proved futile against it. The sheriff attempted to rescue his grandson Emmett from hiding below but was captured by the craft. In that moment, Jake's wristband reacted once more, undergoing a significant transformation. Watching the holographic display, Jake seemed to grasp something. Taking aim at the prisoner transport, he unleashed the wristband's power, creating a gaping hole in an instant. Jake escaped, and Woodrow seized the opportunity to rescue his son. However, their relief was short-lived as the craft snatched Woodrow's son again. With the town on the brink of destruction, Jake took aim once more, activating the extraterrestrial weapon on his wristband. Surprisingly, he succeeded in bringing down the craft. From the peculiar design of the craft, it was clear it wasn't of earthly origin but rather an extraterrestrial spaceship. As the townsfolk gathered around the craft to discuss, screams erupted from a nearby house, accompanied by terrifying roars and gunfire. People inside were instantly slain as the creature burst out, vanishing in the blink of an eye, leaving behind only a massive footprint. Clearly, the creature and the spaceship were allied, even their escape directions were aligned. To rescue the abducted individuals, the townsfolk set aside their differences, uniting to pursue the extraterrestrial creature. Early the next morning, they set out following the footprints. However, Jake, who was aloof, decided not to join them, choosing to depart alone. Though he had temporary amnesia, he vaguely recalled the way home. Upon returning, familiar surroundings triggered Jake's memory, revealing that he had returned home with coins only to be attacked by the extraterrestrial creature. It not only took his coins but also abducted him and his wife, subjecting them to experiments. Realizing the fate of those abducted, Jake resolved to join the pursuit. However, despite trailing until evening, they found no trace of the creature. To worsen matters, heavy rain washed away the tracks. Just then, a stranded ship appeared ahead, prompting everyone to unanimously seek shelter from the rain inside. While Jake tended to his wounds, Ella approached him again, hoping he would recall everything so they could journey to the extraterrestrial creature's base. However, Jake still couldn't remember anything. Suddenly, the wristband began to flicker, indicating another extraterrestrial creature was approaching. Emmett's dog, sensing danger, began barking incessantly ahead. Before Emmett could understand what was happening, the dog dashed out, followed by a mournful howl. Emmett, terrified, hid in a corner, but the monstrous claws of the extraterrestrial creature found him nonetheless. As the creature reached out to grab Emmett, an old man appeared just in time, drawing the creature's attention with gunfire but tragically losing his own life as the creature impaled him. Although Jake arrived in time to drive the creature away with his weapon, the old man had already lost his life. After burying the old man the next day, the group continued following the creature's trail. Unexpectedly, they encountered a group of road bandits along the way. Amidst their pursuit and confrontation, they suddenly realized something was amiss. The extraterrestrial spaceship had joined the fray. After a chaotic battle, the spaceship began abducting people again, and this time, even Ella was not spared. Jake, seeing the situation, decisively mounted a horse and chased after them. I must say, this horse was something else, matching the speed of the extraterrestrial spaceship. Jake seized the opportunity, leaping onto the spaceship as it flew over a river. Without hesitation, he activated the weapon on his wristband, destroying the spaceship, and both of them survived the fall into the river. However, as they caught their breath on the shore, the creature piloting the spaceship burst out of the water, sending Ella flying hundreds of meters with a single punch. Jake quickly dispatched the creature with his weapon, but Ella lay on the ground, barely breathing. As Jake carried her to reunite with the others, Ella succumbed to her severe injuries. Before they could fully process their grief, a group of local indigenous people appeared behind them, capturing them and throwing Ella's body into a funeral pyre. It turned out the indigenous tribe had also been attacked by the extraterrestrial creature. The chief blamed Jake and the others for attracting the creature and wanted to kill them. However, just as they were about to act, there was a loud noise from the pyre, and a naked woman emerged from the flames. It was unexpected. Ella had miraculously survived the ordeal. Jake was astonished and wrapped the blanket around her. To achieve this level, Ella clearly wasn't from Earth. Jake thought Ella and those creatures were in cahoots, but Ella explained that she was indeed an extraterrestrial visitor, but not allied with them. She came from another galaxy, and Ella's own people had also been invaded by them. These extraterrestrial creatures were just scouts, capturing people to study human weaknesses. Once they found those weaknesses, they would gather their forces for a full-scale invasion of Earth, with the goal of plundering gold, which was crucial to them. Ella came to Earth to offer help, hoping to prevent the same tragedy from happening again. They needed to locate the extraterrestrial base quickly, and Jake, being the only one to escape from it, was their best chance. So, she hoped Jake could recover his memories quickly. Upon hearing this, the chief offered his assistance and brewed a herbal remedy for Jake to drink. Surprisingly, it had a significant effect. Jake's mind quickly flashed with images, successfully pinpointing the location of the extraterrestrial base. As the day broke, they successfully located the extraterrestrial base. However, faced with this massive structure, they didn't know how to launch an attack. After all, the extraterrestrial creature's technology was far too advanced, and they had no chance of getting close to the base. Their only advantage was Jake's extraterrestrial weapon, but even so, they were outnumbered. While they were discussing their options, they turned around to find Jake riding away on horseback. But he wasn't deserting them, he was going to find reinforcements. His target? The bandits who had robbed them earlier. These bandits were motivated by money, and the extraterrestrial base surely had gold beyond measure. Using gold as leverage, Jake successfully recruited these outlaws to his cause. Watching Jake return with his newfound allies bolstered their confidence, and they knew they had no time to waste. They immediately split up. The chief led his tribe to occupy high ground, while Jake and a few others climbed up to the extraterrestrial base. They lit bombs and threw them into the base's exit. As they returned to the ground, the bombs exploded, destroying several extraterrestrial ships. However, this action enraged the extraterrestrial creatures, who began launching a fierce counterattack against humanity. Meanwhile, the prepared assault team, led by Woodrow, faced them head-on, while the indigenous tribe, armed with primitive weapons, contributed as much firepower as they could muster. The creatures weren't just physically formidable, their weapons were downright insane. Facing them head-on was clearly futile, with little chance of success. All hope now rested on Jake. He had already entered the base with Ella through the secret passage they had escaped from last time. Inside, the extraterrestrial creatures were using high technology to continuously refine the underground gold. As they delved deeper, they finally found the captured people, staring blankly at the glowing object above as if trapped in some kind of illusion. Jake, curious, glanced at it and found himself frozen in place. Luckily, Ella acted swiftly, shooting down the glowing object. While rescuing Jake, she also freed the others. But as Ella began untying them, the creatures' growls echoed in the distance. Countless monsters charged at them furiously. To buy time for Ella to free the captives, Jake had no choice but to confront the creatures head-on. With the extraterrestrial technology on his wrist and his impeccable marksmanship, he managed to fend off the creatures' relentless assault. His weapon was so effective that even the creatures themselves couldn't match his proficiency with it. After rescuing everyone, Ella didn't choose to leave but instead pushed deeper into the base. The situation on the battlefield above the base was dire. With more monsters joining the fray, the humans were barely holding on. In desperation, some chose to take the ultimate sacrifice, opting to go down fighting. Meanwhile, Emmett, observing the battle from the mountaintop, inadvertently caught the attention of one of the monsters. As the creature climbed up towards him, Emmett quickly sought refuge in a nearby cave. However, he was soon discovered. Thankfully, the cave entrance was small enough to keep the creature at bay for a moment. But to Emmett's surprise, the monster pressed its chest against the opening, revealing its vulnerable spot. Emmett seized the opportunity and stabbed at it with a dagger, successfully taking down the monster. Who would have thought these technologically advanced monsters could be so easily outwitted? Meanwhile, Jake and Ella had found the entrance to the base's interior. Ella decided to venture in alone, intending to use the weapon on Jake's wrist to obliterate the base. At that moment, Jake wasn't aware that Ella intended to go down with the base until the steel door closed behind her. Suddenly, a mortar shell struck, and a monster found Jake, launching a fierce attack. Jake narrowly escaped again, only to find himself in a familiar place, the laboratory where he and his wife were experimented on by the aliens. While Jake was captivated by the surroundings, another monster appeared and pinned him down on the operating table. It was the same monster Jake disfigured earlier. The monster picked up a laser scalpel, ready to resume its unfinished experiment. In the nick of time, Woodrow arrived and distracted the monster. Jake broke free, seized a weapon, and unleashed a barrage of shots until the monster collapsed onto the nearby gold refining machine. Seizing the opportunity, Jake fired again, causing the scorching molten gold to pour down onto the monster, which perished in agony. Unexpectedly, the entire base began to shake violently. It turned out the massive structure was actually a gigantic alien spaceship. Sensing the imminent danger, the extraterrestrial creatures attempted to flee Earth. Seeing the impending collapse, Jake and Woodrow made a swift escape just in time. However, the spaceship departing Earth wasn't good news because it signaled the return of the aliens, and with it, the destruction of Earth. Fortunately, Ella had reached the core of the spaceship by then. Before the monsters could overwhelm her, she decisively activated the self-destruct system of the alien weapon, sacrificing her own life. Ella thwarted the aliens' insane plan, but despite the shining gold raining down from the sky, Jake couldn't find joy. He had lost not only his wife but also the newfound alien girlfriend. In the story's conclusion, the captured individuals were finally reunited with their families. With the gold, the townsfolk became wealthy, living a life of comfort and security. However, Jake, who preferred solitude, chose to leave the town behind.